Dad used to say this thing. It was a dark and stormy night. The men were sitting around the campfire, and the captain said, "Mac, tell us a story." And Mac said, "It was a dark and stormy night. The men were sitting around the campfire." And the captain said, "Mac, tell us a story." And Mac said, and he'd just do that over and over again until we gave him trouble for it. It was a dark and stormy night. Men were sitting around a campfire. And the captain said, "You tell a story, Mac."
You guys all settled in your...
I don't think they're going to sit down.
All right, whatever.
They're young. They're
so
frisky.
Anyway, I go up to Madison Square Garden. You know where that is? All right. So to see the Knickerbockers in 1985 to play against the Boston Celtics, who are the world champion, and the Knicks had just drafted their first round draft pick named Patrick Ewing. He was a 7-foot guy and became a superstar during his career, but he was now playing, and I went up to see the game. Now, I was playing basketball, even though I was a small white guy. I was playing basketball with a lot of much bigger men right here around the corner on 4th Street. So I had this basketball God spirit inside of me. So I couldn't shake it, and I wanted to just go see what was going on. So I went up to the Garden and bought the cheapest tickets for $15. And I would be sitting way, way up in the bleachers. And as I'm going up the escalator, a guy comes over to me and he pulls out a ticket and he goes, "I got the ticket." And I say, "Oh, really?" And he says, "Yeah, this is the ticket." So I look at it, and I can't tell if it's real or not. And I go over to the seating chart and I say, "Well, it looks like maybe it's a better seat than what I got." He says, "Give me another $15 and your ticket." I said, "Okay." So I buy the ticket and I discover I'm going down the aisles to courtside. And all of a sudden I'm in the front row right at courtside. And I sit down and I notice sitting 2 seats away from me, but this guy, who is an old Jewish guy, but looks familiar to me. And I'm thinking, where do I know this guy from? And sitting between us is the announcer of the game, his brother. His name was Marv Alpert's brother, something Alpert, I don't know, and he's sitting with him. And I'm like, who is this guy? Can't think of it. All of a sudden, the whole Knickerbocker team comes over and shakes hands with this guy, player by player. And they're just standing right this close to me. This is where their waists are, and I'm just sitting here looking at the whole Knickerbocker team. And each player shakes hands with this guy, and then he goes back to the bench. And the whole Boston Celtic World Championship basketball team comes over, player by player. They line up and shake hands with this guy. Now I am like, who is this guy? And I touch Marv Alpert's brother, and I go, who is this guy? And he says, he is Les Fine. He is the coach of the Israeli World Championship basketball team that just beat the Russians. And I lean over and go, "Hey, Mr. Fine, remember me? You were my high school gym teacher, and I tried out for JV basketball." And this guy, in the most glorious moment of his life, was reminded that he was nothing more than a high school gym teacher teaching kids how to play basketball. It was only among 30,000 people, I was the only person who could have done that, who could have leaned over and reminded him this is his humility. So to me, it was a demonstration of the power of whatever is the Almighty. And Mr. Fine, he sort of remembered me. But he'll remember this probably as if he's still alive. I doubt it. He'll remember that day. It was funny. Anyway, this is a story.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
It's a good story. It's a good story.